Brilliance Audio presents Gideon's Rescue by Alan Russell. Performed by Jeff Cummings. The two large dogs squared off, teeth bared, spittle flying. They mirrored one another's movements. They were about the same size, but distinct breeds. Their growls increased, and then they were wrestling on the ground, one on top and then the other. A woman came running down the path, her eyes wide. She took a step forward to break up the dogs, then thought better of it. Peacemakers might be blessed, but that doesn't prevent them from getting bitten. The ferocious snarling made her keep her distance. She challenged me with a look that said, "Why don't you do something?" "It's all right," I told her. "They're playing." She didn't quite roll her eyes, but it was apparent she didn't believe me. She hadn't seen the German Shepherd initiate play with a little bow, or his preliminary tail wagging. The hound had happily accepted the invitation to play, and that had started the ruckus. The dogs had communicated with one another. Each knew that no matter how loud their sound effects were, or how realistic their pratfalls, it was all a game. The dogs were so good in their play acting that they should get a contract with the WWE. I probably should have told the woman that the shepherd was my partner, but I didn't want to step on his Hulk Hogan swagger. Their grand finale looked choreographed. Both dogs leapt, bumped chests, and then they hit the ground. They got up and shook themselves like dogs trying to dry themselves off. By mutual decree, they'd had enough. "And that's a wrap," I said. In Tinseltown, you say things like that. The two posers came running over to me, wagging their tails. Both were panting and in need of a drink. I waved to the woman and smiled. She didn't wave or smile back, and I imagine had she deigned to speak, she would have said, "We are not amused." I put a hand on Sirius's head and told him, "You could have been a contender." Then I accompanied Sirius and Angie to a nearby watering hole where they slurped away. This was my second visit to Angie's Rescues, a shelter that had been open for only 10 days. The no-kill shelter had been Heather Moreland's dream. Heather had gone through hell and had sold her story for a lot of money, proceeds that had built Angie's shelter. Angie is Heather's rescue dog. Conversely, you could say Heather is Angie's rescue human. Angie is mostly bloodhound, a breed often described as a nose with a dog attached. She had sniffed out our presence the moment we parked and had run from inside the shelter to play with her friend Sirius. The dogs were finishing up their drinking when Heather appeared. "People were wondering if World War III had broken out," she said. Sirius and Angie ran up to Heather, and then the two of us shook hands. She was smiling and energized. Sometimes it's hard for people to come back from the kind of trauma she experienced, but she looked great. "How are things?" I asked. "Crazy," she said. "I never would have guessed how much work it takes to run an animal shelter, but every day I wake up with a smile on my face. This is what I was meant to do. I get goosebumps every time I see one of my animals leaving for their forever home." I'd heard that the day after Angie's Rescues opened, it was completely full with dogs and cats. It was a no-kill shelter, something the animals seemed to sense. Roughly half the animals taken in by Los Angeles County shelters don't make it out alive. In the city of Los Angeles, the survival rate is better, but it's still nothing to brag about. "How long have you and Sirius been together?" Heather asked. "Like most of our state's citizenry," I said. "My partner came to California as an immigrant. That was 5 years ago." My wife Jen had immediately babied the new arrival and insisted that we change his name from the German Zerle to Sirius. The big bad wolf was putty in Jennifer's hands. "And was it love at first sight?" asked Heather. Sirius had loved at first sight, but it was my wife he'd fallen for. The two of us initially had a different kind of relationship. Work and training brought us closer and engendered trust. And then Jen died, and Sirius made sure I wasn't consumed in darkness.